Welcome to Santapod's Fast Show for a very cold round 2 of the front wheel drive drag series. It's just 2 weeks since round 1 where a delighted Phil Reeves took the win and the early season points lead.
You went into last round thinking, oh, no chance here, just a bit of fun really, and you came out the winner. It was a brilliant result, but that now means that you've gone from underdog to having a target on your back. So what about this event?
Yeah, well, hopefully the weather's going to sort of play in my sort of court, so it'll be more like a short qualifying, short eliminations. But yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking to be honest.
You must have been quite pleased with the way the car performed.
Yeah, it was slightly off pace, but it proved reliable, so it can't ask more really.
And round 1 saw the return of Dan Frost after a year away, with plenty of new upgrades on the car.
Yeah, I have. I've brought a dog box. I've gone twin wastegates thanks to Turbo Smart. So I've done quite a bit to it other than just having a year out really. So hopefully we can see what it can do and get back into the nines.
Not a great deal of changes, really just on the launch control. There's where we had the problems. 1 minute it was launching, next minute it wasn't. We've added a rear speed sensor on the wheel now, so we should be able to calibrate it a little bit better than it was before. But other than that, we've not really done a lot to it. Like I say, just really on the ECU stuff, we've just played about with it. Hopefully a bit more better on the launch control, took a bit of timing out of it. That is really all we've done. This event really, we just want to try and keep in the nines if possible and slowly better it as we go along, you know.
Looking at the entry list, we can see some new names have joined the fray, including a welcome return for Andy Nichols and the VWDRC regular Natalie Wood with the Minion 1.
Yeah, it's Seat Ibiza Mark II. We've got a 1.8 AGU engine in it with a GT30 turbo, 855 injectors, got nitrous in there. Getting there, it's getting there. Well, last year before we did the upgrades, my best was a 12.51 at 111. But because of the new turbo, the hot side's too big, so we've just ordered a smaller hot side. So we're looking for low 11, high 10s when it's actually working properly, but we ain't going to get that this weekend.
Now, the one big difference is that obviously you've raced with the VWDRC for quite a long time. That is a ET bracket racing type deal where you dial in your own time. The other difference is that this is a different tree. You don't have the countdown, so is that going to be difficult to change to?
Yeah, well, this year I've been doing all the wrong-witty rungs, and normally we ask for the sportsman tree so we can practice, but I've been doing it on the pro tree this year. It's different. The car doesn't have the time, obviously, to spool itself. But I'm doing a good, 0.2, 0.3 on it, whereas I'm used to 0.012. So, but we'll see.
At the start of the year, we sort of said we'd like to try and get a top 3 finish. That's what we're aiming for. But it's good to aim for something. But I'm not holding out too much hope, to be completely honest.
Who do you see the main competition coming from?
All the Hondas, which is pretty much everyone else. Kiel Priestman, Luke Pritchard, they've got proven fast cars, and Alan Duffy's coming back eventually. Yes, it's going to be interesting towards the later half of the year.
It could be anyone this year. It's really starting to become a competitive sport, and it could be anyone at the end of the day. It's really quite enjoyable to start racing because you don't know who's going to win. The races that you used to think, oh, I've got this in the bag. No, there's none of those races anymore. It's really close season. No, I think it's just about consistency now. It's not about anything else. Just if you can keep a consistent car, you'll win the series. You don't need to go extremely fast.
So after several rain delays, we move into qualifying, and it's been decided that this will be a one-shot deal, just one chance to get the car set for the conditions before eliminations. First out, our teammates Kiel Priestman in the right lane and Luke Pritchard in the left lane. Now both raced in round 1 2 weeks ago, but Kiel had several problems with the car. Well, this looks much better for him. Our drivers will want to get a good number on the board in this one-shot qualifier. And it's a good job by both there, both with solid 10s. And back in the staging lane, and there's always a lot of preparations to do before each run.
Yeah, well, we run on the slicks, so we have to obviously check the tyre pressures. We run on about 8-9 psi tyre pressure. The nitrous bottle obviously has to be warmed up. Yeah, there's quite a few checks. Make sure obviously all your hoses and everything are pretty tight. Yeah, well, this is on a staging brake, so obviously it locks the rears up. So you have to make sure you've got to your revs and then inch it, and by the time it's, you know, your green light's gone. So it is a lot to think about in a tiny amount of time. Yeah.
And that's Ray Saunders in the left lane with the Civic EG. Oh, it looks like Natalie's got problems getting the car to leave the line cleanly, but it's a pretty solid looking pass from Ray there in the RMS Japworks car. Both cars will get a number on the board. Hopefully that's not damage for Natalie in the Ibiza. Well, Phil Reeves next up with the 9-second Mark II Fiesta. He's taking on Carl Goldsmith in the left lane with the Golf. Now, Carl's another VWDRC regular, but he's also raced heads up before in Top Speed Automotive Street Eliminator. It's a good reaction time from him. Carl honing his skills for eliminations, running alongside the previous event winner in the XR2. And a 10.64 personal best for Carl, with Phil netting a very safe 10.37. Dan Frost in the right lane, and it's a welcome return for Andy Nichols in the left lane with the Honda Integra. Andy's racing in memory of his brother Steve, who sadly passed away earlier this year, a well-known character here at Santa Pod. Well, Andy's car is still in development, so don't expect too much yet. The Fix Autos backed Civic closest to us means business this weekend. Keel's 10.09 is the time to beat. And a 10.08, that puts him into #1 spot, and a nice opener for Andy in the coal-fire lane. So with Pete Cole unable to put in a qualifying run, here is the final table. That #1 spot means Dan faces the #8 qualifier, Natalie Wood, in round 1 of eliminations.
The Fast Show 2018, and we're finally into round 1 of eliminations for the UK Front Wheel Drive Drag Series. Coming up soon is going to be Carl Goldsmith in his first ever round of Front Wheel Drive Drag Series up against Luke Pritchard. Let's meet Carl, shall we?
Hi, how's it going?
Carl, first round, you ran a personal best in your first ever qualifier.
It's very good, thank you. It's awesome.
You're going to be taking on one of our regular Front Wheel Drive Drag Racing Series racers, Luke Pritchard. How do you feel about this?
We'll see. It's, I've got hopes, you know, the car's running well. We'll see what happens.
That's it. Now, in the first round of qualifying, which was only one round of qualifying, you had the best reaction time. Do you feel your experience in Street Eliminator has helped you here?
Very much so. Personally, I thought my reaction time was a bit rubbish, but we'll go with that.
And it's great to see Andy Nichols back out on track.
First time in competition for 4 years, and especially with this new car, the Honda Integra. How's it going so far?
We've done one pass, but we were last minute rush as usual, which is normally the case. We managed to put a 12 down at 127 or something, I think it was, but it spun all the way up the track, so we've just turned the boost off, so hopefully it'll just run half a bar, and hopefully that'll soon go down the track. It might bog now, it's that fine line, you don't know, but we've got no data to work from, so you've got to start somewhere.
Okay, so this new Honda Integra you brought along is essentially a turbo with a Honda engine attached, but what sort of times are you hoping to run?
We built the car for 1200 horsepower. The car is quite heavy, the driver's very heavy, but hopefully we'll get it in. We're looking for 8s. We'd like to run 8s.
#1 qualifier at the Fast Show with 10, wasn't it?
10.08, yeah, at 152 miles per hour.
Brilliant. We've seen you go down into 9s, but you've got a bye run in round #1.
Yeah, I don't know what to do yet. We'll wait and see.
Well, on a bye run, Dan can either just break the beams under his own power, or he can choose to do a full power run to collect more data, but risk damage for the next round in less than an hour's time. Well, the first race sees Carl Goldsmith in his very well-known VW Golf taking on the very rapid Civic EK of Luke Pritchard. Oh, well, Carl does everything right against the low 9-second car closest to us, posting the better reaction time, and it looks like he's keeping the advantage. Oh, Luke's chasing hard, reeling him in, but no, it's not enough. Carl takes the win with a slower 11.33 to Luke's 10.83. That race was all won on the start line. Oh, what a race. Just half a car length in it at the stripe, and Carl's weekend continues as he moves on into the semis. Well, Kjell Priestman has just seen his HSP Racing teammate go out in the first quarter final, but he needs to keep his head in the game and do everything right against Andy Nichols in the AN Racing Integra. Oh, and that's just what he does in the Teguiua back Civic. It's a green light drag racing, Kjell's off and away. Andy's car will be one to watch in the future, but on this run, it's Kjell Priestman all the way, booking his place in the next round with a 9-second run. And it's round one winner Phil Reeves in the XR2, taking on his opponent in that final, Ray Saunders. Ray's being helped this weekend by Brands Hatch Performance and Abbey Motorsport working on his 60-foot times. And great launches for both, but you could see Ray's head bob down as he couldn't select second gear. These two are proven 9-second runners, but that issue costs Ray the race. Phil flies through the top end, another consistent run for the Horsham Developments back team. Number one qualifier Dan Frost on the solo run. What's he decided on? Well, no burnout, just a gentle pass is the answer. No need to break anything when you've already won the race by taking the green lights. Now he's through to the semis where he'll have a race on his hands against Carl Goldsmith, with Kjell Priestman taking on Phil Reeves. So, an hour to get the cars prepped, and it's time for the semis.
Right, so we're into the semi-finals at round number 2 of the UK Front Wheel Drive Drag Series. First round you defeated Ray Saunders, and now you're up against...
Kjell Priestman.
Ah, okay, so that's going to be close.
Yeah.
How do you feel, and what's the plan for this round?
Not a lot of plan, go as fast as possible, but everyone's having a funny weekend, so hopefully something my luck will go well and it will come in my favour, but who knows.
Now, your luck went in your favour at the last round, and obviously in the winner's circle, there was one person you forgot to thank, wasn't there?
That was my beautiful girlfriend and fiancée, Rasheen Winston, and she's done everything, does the cooking, does the packing, everything. She looks after me. She's probably the best girlfriend a boy could ever have.
Brilliant. And obviously you're looking for a semi-final win for Horsham Developments as well. So in eliminations round number 1, you took the win against Andy Nichols, and with that you were back into the 9-second zone. How's the car feeling, ready for the semi-finals?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Still got problems again. We had a TPS problem last time, changed the TPS, everything was fine, but now we've found out that we've got a wire in fault. Like, it's moving, something's moving from obviously the TPS back to the ECU, so we've just sort of bodged it, you know, to just try and get through this next round, but it's just flat shifting's not working because that TPS isn't working. Launch control didn't activate on the last run, so I was lucky to actually win, I think.
Now, it's a very rare thing here at Santa Pod Raceway. We've got a tailwind. Now, how is that affecting your performance and the car?
It's blowing my hair everywhere.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, no, it's helping a little bit. I'm getting back up to 150 plus, which is always nice to have. Hope it continues.
Well, game face is on now as we move into the semi-finals here at the Fast Show at Santa Pod. Just look at those wheels on the really serious racing Ford. So it's an 8-second car taking on a 9-second car. Phil with a round win already under his belt, but Kjell's hungry for this one. And almost identical 0.2 second reaction times, but it's Kjell pulling out a clear lead. Phil's giving it everything, but Keel keeps the advantage, sealing the win and moving into the final to meet either Dan Frost or Carl Goldsmith. Dan yet to get back into the nines this season. Carl running with slicks this weekend, but with treads on, he's 100% street legal in the Golf. And it's Carl with a .08 reaction time to Dan's .45, but then it's all over as the Civic pulls away. He's been Mr. Consistent, running a string of 10 zeros, and there's another one, 10.04, takes the win for Dan Frost. And another look at that one on board with Dan Frost. Arrow straight and a faultless run. Late in the day at a very cold fast show, it's finals time in the UK front-wheel drive drag series here at Santa Pod. Last minute checks on Keel Priestman's car and a few minutes for our drivers to kick back before the last race of the day. Well, Pete Cole had entered this weekend, but problems meant he didn't race. So just before the finals, he put in this out of competition run, tracking down the Gremlins before the Renault hits the track again. Well, he got a pretty stout launch there, so he'll be pleased with that. Time for our finalists to get strapped in. Last minute checks from Amy Bradley as Dan gets ready to race. And just before we see the final, here's a run from eliminated racers Phil Reeves and Luke Pritchard, putting in some testing for the Door Slammers event in just a few weeks' time. Faultless runs from both cars and two very strong 9-second runs. So last run of the weekend for Carl Goldsmith up against Arndt Putzmann from Germany, and a nice demonstration of how weight transfer in rear-wheel drive cars plants the driven wheels into the track. Carl also lowering his PB again. So onto the final we go, but it looks like problems for Keel here in the burnout. Dan very sportingly waiting just out of stage, and the starter, David Warren, telling Keel to do another burnout. But it's not happening for him. This much power on cold tyres is not ideal for Keel. And Keel spins the tyres at the hit, but then he looks to bog down. He's in chase mode now, but against someone of Dan's class, you can't afford any problems. Keel's tried everything, but it's just not enough. Dan Frost takes the win with another 10-0, this time with a 9. And as we take a look at that run from behind, it just shows the importance of a burnout. And on board again with Dan Frost for the winning run.
Fast Show done and dusted, and I'm here with the winner of the UK front-wheel drive drag racing series at the Fast Show, Dan Frost. It's been a good weekend, very close in the semi-finals, but he was the winner in again over Keel Priestman. How did the weekend go for you altogether?
It was a very consistent weekend. Every single run was a 10.0, 150 odd, so it's really good. The car's in a space where it's actually quite reliable now, so I've enjoyed myself. I've had a good weekend.
Brilliant. And is there any sponsors or special people that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, Dean at RW Developments, my fabricator, does all my fabricating work, top man.
Okay, so that's us done for Santa Pod for the Fast Show. We'll be back at the Jap Show for round 3 of the UK front-wheel drive drag racing series. See you then.